Hi everybody, welcome to today's video where we're going to be having a closer look at the life of Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. A lot about Carolyn is known as a result of her marriage to John F. Kennedy Jr., but not as much is known about her life before the relationship, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Carolyn was born on January 7th in 1966, and she was born in White Plains, New York, which is a suburb of New York City. It's about a 40-minute drive from Manhattan. Carolyn was the youngest daughter of her mom, Anne Messina, later to be known as Anne Bessette, and then Anne Freeman. Carolyn's father was William J. Bessette, and he was an engineer. Carolyn had two older twin sisters, Lauren and Lisa. Before the fateful plane crash that took her life, Lauren was on the rise in New York City. She was 34 years old and she was climbing the ladder at Morgan Stanley as an investment banker. She had an Ivy League MBA and she was fluent in Mandarin. In fact, she had spent the majority of the past year in Hong Kong working as an investment banker in Asian assets, and that's why she was fluent in Mandarin. Many now say that she had a very sophisticated group of friends in New York City, and she was the kind of girl that everybody wanted to befriend and be friends with. Her friends now describe her as brilliant, compassionate, quick-witted, and a champion of those who are struggling. She was really, really keen on her charity work. If you guys are interested on more about Lauren, I'm planning on doing a whole video about her, so if you'd like to see that, just let me know in the comments or subscribe and stay tuned for that. But for now, we'll jump back into Carolyn's life. So Carolyn's parents ended up getting divorced when she was super young. Her mom ended up remarrying to somebody named Richard Freeman, and he was really successful, and he ended up being like a second father figure to Carolyn and the sisters. Richard was an orthopedic surgeon, and once Anne married to Richard, they ended up moving to Old Greenwich in Connecticut. Once the family moved to Connecticut, Carolyn attended Juniper Hill Elementary School, and the family really began to put down roots in this town. Juniper Hill, Carolyn's mom, Anne, also began working as a substitute teacher. Now, Carolyn was raised as a Roman Catholic, and when it came to her high school education, her parents enrolled her at St. Mary's High School. At St. Mary's, she was voted by her classmates as the ultimate beautiful person. In another year, she was voted as the prettiest, as you guys just saw in one of the previous photos. So she really, really put down roots once she got to Connecticut. She had settled in by the time that she was in high school, and she was so loved and admired by all of her classmates. Carolyn graduated from St. Mary's High School in 1984 and went on to attend Boston University. She enrolled in Boston University School of Education and graduated in 1988 with a degree in elementary education. Carolyn loved children, and that's why she graduated in elementary education. Her plan had always been to work with children, and many of her friends have said that she was a natural around children. She would just light up, and they just made her so incredibly happy. Carolyn's beauty did not go unnoticed during her college years. She ended up experimenting with a modeling career and hired a professional photographer to take pictures of her for her portfolio. And we can see these pictures are really different from the pictures we later see of Carolyn in New York City. And this is because this was before she really found her style, her look, and this was in the really early days of her experimenting in fashion and with her image. Carolyn's life really began to change when she landed a job as a saleswoman at the Calvin Klein store at the Chestnut Hill Mall in Newton, Massachusetts. Now, it was while working at this Calvin Klein store in Boston that Carolyn was noticed by a woman named Susan Sokol. Susan was a traveling sales coordinator for Calvin Klein, and when she first saw Carolyn, she was so impressed by her grace and her style that she ended up recommending her for a position that dealt with Calvin Klein's high-profile clients. This included styling them, and this position is what brought Carolyn to New York City. Carolyn continued to climb her way up the company ladder at Calvin Klein even after she moved to New York City in this new position. She ended up becoming the director of publicity for the company's flagship store in Manhattan, and then eventually worked as a director of show productions, where she was earning a salary in the low six figures. It was in these fashion circles in Manhattan that Carolyn first met John F. Kennedy Jr. in 1992. Now, nothing initially happened between them. It wasn't until a couple of years later in 1994 when they began dating. Because this video is more so about Carolyn's early life before she met John, we won't delve too much into the relationship, but it's said that John was completely starstruck by Carolyn. Her presence was totally undeniable for him. The reports of John's first reactions to Carolyn are completely in line with the rest of the world's reactions to her. She was so charismatic, and everybody fell in love with her instantly. There's been many friends that have come out and said that yes, she was beautiful in photos, but her essence can't really be captured, and no one can fully understand her unless they met her in person, because she had such a captivating presence and her charisma was completely off the charts. Anybody who met her instantly was mesmerized by her. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more on Carolyn's life. We'll be breaking it down into a short mini series.